Hello and welcome to Frank's School. I'm in the second half of my second year with the 91st day. Alright, the grand pause is over and now I go back to the story. Here comes the end. Now it won't end today, maybe tomorrow. Alright, the story goes on. This would I guess this could be indented, I suppose, as a new paragraph, or it could simply be going on. But then, suddenly, the rooster, Chanticleer was his name, was kissed by the muse of punctuation. Well, the idea of being kissed by a muse, I talked about that last year. If you're inspired in some kind of an art, now that comes up with something called a mixed metaphor, actually. A mixed metaphor, I think. The muses, there were 9 of them, and they were usually portrayed as beautiful women, and this beautiful woman kissing a rooster does something funny in the head. That's called a mixed metaphor. Boy, I hope it wasn't on the beak. That's too much. Anyway, and I said suddenly. Actually, I would say suddenly, which I'll show you in a moment. Let's deal with the punctuation. But then, suddenly, I set that off with commas. I don't know if I would have had to or not. The rooster, now I interrupted. This is new information. This is not necessary. Chanticleer was his name. I tried to point out earlier that punctuation is ready to even deal with bad writing. That could be left out, so it's parenthetic. Was kissed by the muse of punctuation. Now I put an exclamation point there to show, hey, that doesn't happen every day. Now what we actually say in English sounds like this, or at least in my dialect. But then, and I already said suddenly, that's a glottal stop, suddenly. That's the way I would say that. I could say suddenly if I'm being careful, but suddenly, the rooster, Chanticleer was his name. Chanticleer was his name. Was kissed. Was kissed by the muse. By the muse of punctuation. I had some trouble with this. Punctuation. I'd like to be consistent. Punctuation. I don't think I spelled it that way before, but I'm not perfect. I did want to point out that I capitalized muse of punctuation as if that were the name of this particular special muse. Let me try this. But then suddenly the rooster, Chanticleer was his name, was kissed by the muse of punctuation. Punctuation. Yeah. And in German, it would be like this. Aber dann, plötzlich. And that lich. When you go to learn German, you learn that just like we put ly on the end of adjectives to make them adverbs, you can do that in German too. Der Hahn. But you see, in German, they want the the predicate in the sentence to come as the second element. So it goes straight to was. Würde, or became, würde der Hahn, Chanticleer war sein Name, von der Muse, I guess, von der Muse der Zeichensetzung geküsst. Okay, what that literally means, word by word, is, but then, suddenly, was the rooster, Chanticleer was his name, from the muse of punctuation, kissed. German is mixed, and I hope you gradually learn to love German. That'll be my subject later. I have a second video today.